Hey, what's going on, guys? Khordmaster is here with Kayla, and I wanted to talk to you guys about today's episode of Khordmaster Keys. So, I had a chance to talk to Natalie Kaye Clater, who is a member of Songs for Littles with Miss Rachel. I'm so happy, jump. I'm so happy, jump, clap. I'm so happy today. Jump, clap, skip. Hey, hey, hey. I hit her up and we had an incredible conversation. There's so much that I want to share with you guys about it, but I just want you to watch the chat and just enjoy it. She's a person who's done a lot of awesome things, and I had the chance to talk to her about her time on the cast of Hamilton, the musical, as well as other musicals that she was on, and one that she's currently working on called Rock and Roll Man. And yeah, she's just a genuine person, and I just really just enjoyed talking to her. It was a nice chat, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and without further ado, let's go ahead and watch this little one, seeing her TV hero in person, kind of in person, on the screen. Right? That was fun, wasn't it? You had a good time with that? Yeah. 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 Okay, here we go. Now, surprise guest. Come say hello. Yeah, there we go. Oh, you want me to? Oh, you didn't want to be on camera. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, yeah, this little one watches you all the time.
Hi.
You say hello, hello. You say hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Does she look familiar?
Hi. Oh, she's so cute.
Thank you. Okay, it's bedtime. We had to do it, and this is all my wife's recommendation. She's like, "Oh, you can maybe bring her down real quick." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't think of that. That's amazing. Let's do that."
That's awesome.
Good night, babe. All right, I'm excited. I am excited to chat with you today. First and foremost, I asked you already off record. Now that we got the whole volume up thing fixed, which I'm excited about. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm doing pretty good today.
So we're going to get into a lot of different things. One of the questions that I love asking all my guests to start off with, just to kind of give them a chance to reflect and for me to learn a little bit about them, is I want to know a little bit about what little Natalie was like. What were you like growing up?
I was very athletic. I was a perfectionist, still am. And I don't know. I was like a good kid, like I didn't get in too much trouble or anything like that. I was very like cookie cutter, like clean, kid. But I was in gymnastics first when I was little. I did gymnastics first, and I was super in love with gymnastics. So I've always been very like athletic. But I have a theory that you only get like so many years of like energy, and then once you use them up, like you can get tired and gassed out real quick.
Sure. So gymnastics, okay. So
Yeah.
How many years did you do it for?
I did gymnastics until I was about like 8, and I trained like pretty hardcore for like a kid. And then my family moved to North Carolina when I was around that age. And there weren't like a lot of gyms in the area. So my parents owned a performing arts school, and I assisted mom in all the dance classes when we were really starting out. And I was like, oh, I'm kind of good at this. And that kind of transitioned me from gymnastics into dancing.
I see. So you're in New York City now.
Yeah.
You moved to North Carolina. Where did you move? Where were you prior to North Carolina?
LA. I was born in Pasadena and lived in the LA area. Yeah.
Okay.
Love California.
That's pretty cool. Wait, so that's pretty, I mean, that's kind of like very, I don't know how, I feel like it's noteworthy. Like California, North Carolina, and New York City are like 3 distinct and very popular parts of the country. You had a chance to experience all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was your favorite? What did you like?
I'm
like
a city
about,
girl.
Your favorite place.
So the South wasn't really my jam. I much prefer a big city. So I really love California, but I would love to move back there one day. You just have to have a nice car to be in California, to be in LA. It's such a driving city. But I've been in New York this is my 8th year living in New York. And it's definitely like become home for me. So I think my heart definitely belongs to New York now, which surprised me because I've always been such a, Valley girl. Yeah, I'm a city girl for sure. So I definitely prefer the California or the New York to the South. I like the speed and the pace of it. So in New York, I've been here for about 8 years now. And my heart definitely belongs here. And I feel very like at home. It's definitely like home, I'm sure I'll move at some point, but for right now, it's definitely home.
Got you. Very cool. Very cool. And real quick, which part of North Carolina?
We lived in Hickory, which is like, if you know where Charlotte is, it's kind of like 45 minutes, an hour drive from there.
Yeah. The reason I asked that is because, so let's see, I was born in New York. I was born in the Bronx and lived in New Jersey most of my life. And my wife was born in New Jersey and lived in New Jersey all of her life. And now with the little one who you were so gracious enough to say hello to, and I'm sure like in several years when she sees this, it'll be really cool for her to, see her and her hero on screen together. And we've thought about, where we see. Oh, go ahead first.
Oh, I was just going to say that. So, I mean, it's crazy to me that there's so many little ones that see me on a daily basis, and I do think about that, like what that'll be when they're older and like, can recognize me or something. It's like I grew up with them, but I wasn't ever there, but they saw me on a regular basis,
Oh, man. Natalie, I do. I mean, I can't relate to it, but I absolutely, and I'm excited to unpack that even because I think it's very profound. I mean, like the amount of people and how routinely almost, right? Like that's a thing that happens in so many houses. And we're definitely gonna unpack that. I would just say to finish my thought about North Carolina is that is a place that my wife and I see us at some point moving to.
Yeah. Asheville is a really nice area. When you guys do look out there, Asheville is super, super cute.
Gotcha. We'll definitely add that to the list because we've in the north, Charlotte area in North Carolina, like that kind of vicinity is the place that we kind of see ourselves. But I guess we're getting a little ahead. That's probably several years, in the making. Yep. So rehearsals, I want to know like what this has been like for you. How long have you, with this particular play that you guys are rehearsing for right now that's opening in June, I want you to like kind of just share a little bit about what this experience has been like for you and like how like that's a world that I'm not into, right? In terms of I never acted like that, so I'm just really curious to know like how it's going and like kind of walk us through like what your day-to-day is during rehearsals.
Yeah, so I'm in rehearsals for Rock and Roll Man, which goes into previews June 2nd. It's off Broadway. It's going to be at New World Stages. And we are on week 2. Yeah, 2-ish of rehearsals. So, we still are pretty fresh in the process. But we meet up and, we either do a music day or we'll do staging or choreography and just kind of are slowly building this musical, putting these pieces together. And it's a very like collaborative effort, especially amongst the creative team, to put together this rad rock and roll musical, which I think is going to be super fun. And Stephanie Clemens is choreographing it and she is phenomenal. It's like it'll hopefully like get everyone like in the mood to like get up and like dance a little. The music is fantastic, that 1950s like rock, which is sort of it's like the base of rock and roll, like the genre of it, the songs that like kind of gave birth to that genre. So a really fun time.
So what I read is like about a DJ that sort of like integrating black and white artists to be able to perform together, like at its core, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So Alan
Yeah.
Freed, who I personally did not know anything about prior to working on the show. And so it's been interesting to learn about him. So he was a DJ and was kind of the first guy to play black music on white radio stations and to kind of like integrate that music, which, you know, was very controversial and, but also very important in, you know, the movement and creating the music that we have today and the kind of like world that we have today. So it's very, important to have, you know, someone open up that pathway. But yeah, so he coined the phrase rock and roll. So he like named the genre, if that makes sense.
Oh, that's very fascinating. Okay, so
Yeah.
he came up with that term as well as
Yeah.
everything else that I'm sure the viewers are going to have an opportunity to learn about how historic and how important, you know, he was in terms of getting music to where it is today, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, super, super cool. And taking, you know, artists and particularly artists of color and their music and sort of popularizing it and getting it to branch out to not just, you know, other black kids, but also white kids listening to that music and being influenced by that music was super important to, you know, the music world today.
That's incredible. Yeah, you know what it's making me think of a little bit right now is my wife and I went to, in Nashville, there is a African-American music museum. And she surprised me a few years ago during spring break when I was teaching full-time, and we went down. And one of the sections there that I just had such a amazing time exploring. Imagine like a really big table that's touchscreen, and you basically can like connect some headphones that they give you, and you're able to like explore music in the way of you can like select any artist. So maybe you select, I don't know, Michael Jackson, for example, and then it'll give you like a few of his songs that you can just, you know, tap and it'll just play like a little preview, which is normal. But the other things that were just fascinating to me were it had 3 other little branches from his bubble. One of them was inspiration. So artists that inspired Michael Jackson. So ones that came before him. And then you can select one of them and then do the same thing with them. One of them was people that were inspired by Michael Jackson. So people that came after him that were inspired by him. And then you can do the same thing. And then the last one was peers of his, so his contemporaries around that same time, who made similar type of music. And excuse me, I was just like, I wanted to spend even longer time, but I'm a musician myself, like hence the keyboard back there, hence my artist name is Khordmaster, et cetera, et cetera. And so like for me, like the history of music is towards the top of the list of things that are most intriguing and things that I'm just like so excited to learn about. So as I read through this description, I think there's a different word. What is the word for the description of the play thing that was sent? Like the
bio or press release or...
Yes, that's what I'm looking for. I want it to sound official. Press release. Yes, there you go. Press release. So like, yeah, as I was reading through it, I'm like, okay, this is something that I have to be at. I have to be there in June, which I will, and I'm excited to to see that 1,000%. And another thing is like I mentioned to the person I interviewed yesterday, who coincidentally, he's a comedy writer, but coincidentally he also is from New York City. And between you two, like I was like so excited when I was like when you got back to me on Instagram, and when he did as well. Like both of you guys were like, you know, like thrilled. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like you guys were very forthcoming with like being willing to you know be a guest on this platform. And I've been kind of half in, half out with regards to this thing, because there's like so many other things that I want to do and things that I just kind of get pulled in different directions. But I had sort of a realization recently that I love connecting with people. I've gotten more than enough feedback about from guests as well as other people who've watched these to say like you should keep doing this kind of thing. So like that's always stuck with me. And the ability to now talk to people, coincidentally, both of which that are that are neighbors to me, like the person yesterday, like we're gonna plan to get coffee sometime. Like you, like I'm planning to come to the show, and I have an opportunity to do that, which is like very exciting to me. So I'm like feeling very enthusiastic about like this whole thing right now.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great way to meet other people and make connections that you wouldn't necessarily have, made otherwise. You wouldn't have necessarily even known about the show to think that'd be something you'd want to come see,
Right.
if we weren't doing this. So I think that's great.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I guess before we talk a little bit about Miss Rachel and like how you kind of got that opportunity, I wanted to know a little bit about other plays that you have been in that like I'd like to just kind of know about like what those experiences were like.
Yeah. So like the biggest and like kind of main thing I've been doing for the last few years is I was in Hamilton from 2018 to February 2022, somewhere in there. So I did Hamilton for a good chunk of time there, which was amazing. And I mean, such a cool thing to get to do in my lifetime, to be a part of such a giant production.
Historic.
Yeah. So definitely Hamilton has, a big one on my resume. And I've done a lot of regional productions. I've done West Side Story. I've done A Chorus Line a few times, Dreamgirls a few times. I direct and choreograph. I did a production of Once on This Island just February of this year. So I've definitely been around the block with the musical theater thing, for sure.
That's incredible. So I want to like know, obviously a ton of practice and rehearsals and all that has to go into like making this production become what it is, what everyone sees the night that they, buy tickets and they have a chance to experience it. So like from your perspective, do you get nervous before going on stage, or is it like I practice, I got this, like I'm good?
I think I always get a little bit nervous. It does, get more you get used to it, like especially if you've been with the show for a long time. Like, I was in Hamilton for years, so I felt, like I knew what it was going to be. I knew exactly what I was going to do every night. Like there was no, will I get it? Like I was confident in what the show was going to be. It was very set. It was very rehearsed. But, it's still, I think most performers still get a little bit of stage fright, or just like awareness that people are looking at you and you want to do a good job and you want to, find that balance of performing but without over performing or over singing, and kind of, finding that fine tuning in your performance itself. But I always still get nervous. I still get nervous.
Of course, right?
Yeah.
Man, so I would say, and the reason I asked that is like as a piano player, one of the goals that I have now, and I'm really, really enjoying this current season of piano for me, which is that prior to where I'm at now, I kind of like plateaued a little bit because I wasn't taking lessons anymore. And again, as I mentioned earlier, being pulled in different directions. So wasn't really like dedicating time to like learning new things, more so playing the things that I already knew, right? And now that I'm taking lessons again, I found an incredible instructor, see her once a week, 30 minutes. And it's just making me like remind myself that the piano, specifically the piano, is one of the things that sets me apart from other people who maybe produce music or other people who do, whatever. And it's something that as I'm sure as a singer as well, like music is like therapeutic after like this long day, being able to play an instrument I wouldn't even know as much about the singing thing, but I would imagine very similarly, like creating music, creating sounds with your voice. I'm sure it's something very similar, right? So I say all that to say, having had a couple of opportunities to play live at like coffee shops And one particular one I'm just being reminded of, 2 years ago for my birthday, I had like a lot of friends together for dinner, and then we went to like this cocktail / wine bar afterwards, and we walked in, and there was a black trio playing drums, guitar, and keys. And at this time, I was just like so taken aback. I was like, this is dope. Like I was meant to be here. I don't know if that's the right grammar, but like I was supposed to be here in this moment, right? And so I said what's up to them, and then I told the keyboardist that I also play, and today's my birthday, not thinking that I'm gonna play, but I just letting him know that we have a something in common kind of thing. And he's like, oh, well, we'll have you up here like during an intermission or whatever. I'm like, oh, so obviously I got so nervous. Of course, like my friends are there. I wasn't prepared or whatever. But Natalie, when I tell you, like I went up there and had a chance to jam with, like I played just the two of us, and I think I played best part, and the bass guitar like just picked up the chords and played the bass with it, and the drummer, and it was like one of those moments where I'm like, okay, I need to do more of this, 1,000%. I need to perform with other people because it brought so much joy. So that's cool, and it's very noteworthy, and I guess, as you mentioned, common, that when you're in front of people, of course, you're going to have some nerves, but maybe those nerves are kind of what allow us to be even more on. If we weren't nervous at all, maybe we wouldn't.
Yeah, it's good to have a little bit of nerves. For sure, it's good to have a little bit of nerves. You don't want to be like so detached from the experience.
Yeah.
I think that's good. But you know what I get more nervous about than performing is definitely auditioning. Auditions, I get really, really crazy nerves. But I'm like, if you give me the job, I'll chill out, like once I have it, I feel more secure. But in the audition aspects, audition experience of it, it's also tougher because, when you're auditioning for something, you don't often have the full script or the full song or the full, whatever it is. It's like a moment of it. And you do your best you can with that little bit of information versus, when you're on the job, you have weeks of rehearsal and discussions with the director and, are able to get more, of a finite kind of path of how to approach it, as opposed to auditions a little more, you do your best with what you're given in a short period of time. Yeah, auditions are, I don't like the auditioning. I don't like it. I'd rather just skip that part, but you have to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm way chiller once I have the gig.
Wait, so is there like one audition story that you have that like is very like crazy or like can't believe this happened kind of thing? Or
yeah, I have a pretty bad one that.
Yes, let's hear it.
I was going in for it was a Lion King call. I think it was Lion King. I don't remember. It was like 10 years ago. But I go in for it and I'm singing my song, and my sheet music was in a different key than I had been practicing.
Oh boy.
So he's playing the music, and I was too worked up, too nervous to like figure out how to adjust to him, or like I didn't know what to do. So I was like, I'll just keep singing. Maybe he'll adjust to me. Like, I'm not sure. And you could see like all my thoughts on my face, like I didn't do a good job like disguising all of my confusion and stress and distress, And so I was like, just really like be confident, and like it'll, overshadow the fact that I'm in the wrong key, And so I was like, okay, just really focus on the words. And then it was too high. The key that he was playing was, it was too high. I was trying to adjust. I was overshooting the notes. It sounded awful. I knew it sounded bad. They knew it sounded bad. And I was I didn't know what to do. So I was like, put your hands on your hips. That looks confident. So I just like did that. And I was like, that's weird. I've never stood like this. Like, this is not natural. So I literally turned around and I faced away from them. I was like, I panicked and I flipped around. So my back was to them while I'm singing.
Wow.
And then afterwards, I finished and I was like, and I just like looked up at them and they were like, okay. And just like put my headshot to the side, and I was like, yeah. And I just walked out of the room. I was like beet red. I was so embarrassed.
Wow.
Gosh.
I'm sorry for laughing so much, first of all.
I mean, you're laughing funny a little now. Too. It's just
okay.
I just panicked. Like I could have just been like, actually, hang on one second, and like talked with I could have just started
Okay.
over. There's many different options to my choice of powering through and turning around. Like, there were many other choices of how to handle it, but I fully panicked, and I just
You did the
did not.
about face.
I was like, maybe if I don't see them, the problem will go away,
Right. Oh my God, that is too funny. Wait, so like, do you think that this may be getting in the head of the people that were there, but do you think that like they like if I was interviewing them, like, hey, tell me about like one of the times, like one of the craziest stories. Well, I'm sure they probably saw even crazier things, but do you
I'm
think
sure
that was like
they
memorable?
don't even remember. Yeah.
Not at all, right? Not at all, probably,
No,
right?
it was like
No,
a bad
can't
day
be.
for me, and for them
Yeah.
it was like a blip in the universe.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
they probably were like, "That was weird," and giggled about it for like 5 minutes, and then they moved
Yep.
on.
And then moved on.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I want to talk about Miss Rachel a little bit. Like, how did that opportunity present itself for you, Natalie Kaye Clater?
Yeah. So
I don't know why I just did the full name.
that's good though. Yeah, plug it in.
That's good. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I had done a music video previously for Aaron, who is Miss Rachel's husband. And so he does the music for Songs for Littles. So he reached out to me and was like, hey, we are looking for someone for this next episode. Would you be available? Would you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, sure. Sounds fun. I didn't know anything really about it. I didn't know, because I don't have a kid, so I don't tend to keep up with the kids' programs.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So we do it, we film it. I was like, oh, this is so great. This is so fun. They, work really well as a team, and the arrangements were really cool for, a Mr. Golden Sun arrangement. I thought it was pretty rad. And part of what I was so excited about it was, so Rachel taught music classes pre-pandemic, and then, pandemic hit. And so she started posting the videos online in order to like keep the, education going.
Right.
And a lot of stuff is really designed for kids with learning disabilities or kids on the spectrum. And my brother's on the autism spectrum. So that really, I was like, oh, this is super cool. This is something I'm excited to get to be a part of. And they were like, listen, we get a lot of views. And I was like, okay, I don't know. And then it blew up, and I could not believe the amount of, messages and like people that have seen it, and all my friends that have kids were like, you didn't tell me you're doing Miss Rachel. I was like, I didn't know it was the biggest. I get recognized for Miss Rachel more than I do for Hamilton. Like, I did not know it had such a huge audience. So it was, just a really cool thing that I got to do a couple episodes for, and I would love to do more. And I'm sure, when schedules allow, we'll team back up. But yeah, like a super, super fun thing that I had no idea that it was so huge.
That is beautiful. I mean, the other day, the thing that I tagged you in, which I'm glad I did, because I think that might be what, I guess, because you know how Instagram is with messaging.
Yeah,
because
because I saw that, and then I was like, oh, he had messaged me before, and yeah, that's when I saw it. Right,
and then right. Yeah, that was really interesting in that around the time that I posted that, which was me singing "I'm So Happy" but like the wrong lyrics because I still don't know them, even though I should, because I listen to it every day, like multiple times with Kayla. But eventually, I will get them. I will get them down for sure. But I promise. Yes, one of my followers, someone who I've interacted with, who like follows me for my music production stuff, saw it, and he was like, "You and Miss Rachel should collab on something. We're really." He said something like, we're really close with her, something along those lines. And then I was like, small world, that's crazy, right? And then it turns out that him and his wife does like these like really clever animation like comics that she does on her page, and she has like a very significant following as well. From what I understand from the brief conversation we had, they're really, really close with Miss Rachel. So who
Oh,
knows
cool.
down the road? Like I would be thrilled. Like I would be thrilled to like collaborate with her on something
Yeah.
musical. Like yeah. So I'm gonna
Oh,
like
that'd be super
like
cool.
she put absolutely yeah she put my name in like introduced me the friend, the guy's wife.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll see, how it all kind of plays out. But yeah, this is like I mentioned before, like having a chance to chat with you is awesome because when I've done these conversations, there's like different ones that I do. There's ones with friends that are doing interesting things but maybe don't have a significant following that I'm just like excited to have a chat with them. That's even I guess more informal than this because I know them and stuff, right? And those
Yeah.
are kind of mainly for me and mainly for them. Maybe others might watch it, but typically, like it is what it is. And then there's ones like bigger name people that are I don't know, like maybe like app developers for some music apps that I use to produce music, and people like are at the edge of their seat in terms of like figuring out, oh, are they going to like unveil anything new or whatever? So like those do extraordinarily well. And so for me, like it's exciting knowing that once I release this, I know that people who like friends of mine who have kids who know you are going to be, and I haven't even told anyone like about this, purposefully didn't. They're going to be like, yo, that's crazy. Like that's, that's it. And, you may not even feel that way because you're you, I'm me. It's like, we're doing our own thing, but it's going to be like, it's going to be glorious, Natalie. I'm very excited for that. Like when people get a chance to see it.
It is wild to me how many people have seen it and seen, especially, I only have done 2 episodes, but I think, when people play it in their homes, it kind of plays on a loop for a while, the episode.
Sure. Yep.
So it might, feel like I've done more than I feel like I've done, but I'm so happy that I've made people so happy. Jump, clap, spin.
I'm so happy too. There we go. High five. Boom.
Stomp, stomp,
That's what I'm talking about. I didn't even have to ask you to do it. You just kind of knew that at some point, organically,
at some point,
it has
it would
to like
have
work
to
its way into the conversation.
In. Right. Of course.
Yeah. I mean, and it did. That was. I mean, I'm starting to tear up right now. That was just like that was incredible.
It was smooth, wasn't it?
Yes, it really was.
It was good. Yeah.
That was. It really was. It was impressive. It was impressive. Okay, so let me think here. So I want to like ask a couple of like rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So one is name a movie and a show that you love.
That's always such a hard question for me. I'm such a movie buff. Like I watch so many movies and I have so many things that are like tied. But I'll just answer the question directly. Just name one that I love.
Yeah.
I really love Annihilation. Natalie Portman. It's sci-fi. I really love Annihilation. And then you said TV show that I really love. I'll just go with my good old classic New Girl. I keep that on a loop.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I do. I love a sitcom. I really do.
Yeah. All right. So New Girl. I've seen several episodes of. I mean, that came out several years ago, right? So when it first came out, I've seen several for sure. Annihilation, and it was good, definitely. I haven't watched it like on and on kind of thing. I'm not obsessed with it like you are or anything. But,
I'm obsessed. I'm happily obsessed.
You are obsessed, and and it wasn't even a slight. It's like you're obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with The Office and Eric Andre show. Like, fine, it is what it is.
Yeah.
There we go. Annihilation, I have not heard of before, so please tell me about that so I can like decide if I should watch it.
Well, okay, so sci-fi, really love that. It's based on a book. Let's see who else is in it. Oscar Isaac, Gina Rodriguez, and Tessa Thompson. A lot of phenomenal actors in it, and it's a group of female scientists, which I love that. Group of female scientists kind of exploring this extraterrestrial anomaly and trying to understand it. And it's very like, it's a little trippy. It's it's kind of psychological, like in the way that it's, kind of twisted in its storytelling. I wouldn't call it like a thriller. Like it's definitely
Sure.
more of like, you know, a sci-fi action-y drama, I guess. But yeah, it's just very well written. The scenery is beautiful. It's a very like visually appealing movie.
That's awesome. Okay. Well, I'm going to add that to the list 1,000%
a
because
good one.
I am in let's see, when it comes to shows, I have a very, very short attention span. I feel like that's something that a lot of people may say and a lot of people may feel about themselves. Mine is like remarkably short. I will not mess around. I'm sorry. I will like just go do something else. Although I do have to tell you this story about a show called Four Weddings and a Funeral. Have you heard of this?
Okay. Yes, I've heard of it, but no, I've not seen it.
Four Weddings. Okay,
Is
so
that a
the
show
story
or a
goes
movie?
like it is both. Yeah. So it's a movie, and then they turned it into a show. My wife was watching it. This is maybe 2 years ago. I love this story because it's just very, very funny to me. So she started watching it, and then I was like in the kitchen, and I was about to go downstairs and just do whatever, like make some music or play games or whatever, right? And she's like, "Hey, you're in the kitchen. Do you mind just putting up some popcorn in the microwave for me?" And I was like, "Sure, honey." I probably wasn't like that. I probably was like, "That's gonna be like 4 minutes. I'm trying to go downstairs right now." But for the sake of the conversation, it was like, "Sure,"
Right.
you know.
Right.
And I put it in, so it's 4 minutes, and she had just started, and then I'm like, I'm here already. Let me just like stand here and just not be on my phone. Let me like look at what she's watching. Started watching it. Fast forward several weeks or whatever, like I ended up, well, I guess not to jump ahead, but yeah, I ended up like being so fixated like in that 4 minute span to start the show that I was like, I need to see what happens next, and then we ended up watching the whole entire thing together. And and it wasn't like some critically acclaimed, thing or anything, but what it was like a concept in a show that I find extremely interesting and appealing, which is like forbidden love. That's the thing, right? It's like these two people want to be together, but they can't because of a reason that is like, oh, I don't want to curse, like, kids maybe watch it, but like, oh, snap, like, oh, that's interesting kind of thing. So it was very good. And the woman from yes, so I'm assuming you've seen Game of Thrones because I think everyone has.
Yeah, but I'm not.
Right?
I'm not like a Game of Thrones or like I've seen it, but I don't know much about it. I didn't. Stick with
Gotcha.
it
So
very
you haven't
long.
seen the whole show. You've seen a little bit.
No, I've seen moments and
Okay.
bits here and there.
Gotcha. Okay. Got to get on that, Natalie. Got to get on
I
it.
know.
But no, that's okay. You watch it if you want to, right?
If you really like
There's
Forbidden Love, have
a
you
black-
seen The Adjustment Bureau with Matt Damon and Emily Blunt? It was
Heard of it. I'm
came
trying
out,
to see if I've ever seen it.
it's a movie,
I don't think
came
I've
out,
seen
like,
it.
What?
No.
2012, I'll say, somewhere in there.
Okay. That's
It's
a good one.
one. That's one of my favorite like forbidden love kind of stories.
Okay.
Yeah.
Adjustment Bureau and Natalie Portman's
Annihilation. Yeah.
Okay.
Super good.
You've seen what is the digital short with Natalie Portman that everyone loves when she raps? I'm assuming you've seen that, or have you not? On Saturday Night Live. I don't know if
Sure.
you're a huge fan of hers or not, but
Yeah,
it was...
I am, but no, I don't know what we were referencing.
Not sure. Okay, I have to
No.
look at. I'm yeah. It's something that she. If you don't know it, you don't know it. It's fine. I'll like send you a link later. You'll watch.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
and,
send
like,
it to me.
Hopefully find it funny. All right, very good. So another question, rapid fire, is name
Yes.
a place that you've visited that you loved.
So on tour, I toured with Hamilton and we stayed in a lot of different places. I really loved DC. I stayed in Georgetown, the Georgetown area. It's super cute. It's like,
Wow.
yeah, I really did like living there. I would have stayed. I really thought that was a nice area.
Yeah, Georgetown. Okay, so Georgetown. I'm gonna sound ignorant for a second, but I know that that's a school, and I didn't know where it is, but I'm assuming, is Georgetown the school in the town of Georgetown around DC?
Think so?
Maybe. Okay.
Think so.
Maybe.
We'll go with that.
Okay. Cool. Well, there
There's
we go.
definitely
Perfect.
a school by where I was at. So
Okay. So it
Probably.
could be. Gotcha.
we were
Georgetown. Very
performing
cool,
at
very
the
cool.
Kennedy Center. So steps from the Kennedy Center area.
Gotcha. Okay. So wait, so when you were like when you tour and you're living in a place for a certain period of time, like how long, like in this particular case, how long would you have been there for?
So, pre-pandemic tour, we had really long sit downs. We would be like in DC, we were there for 3 months, and then we would be in a place for like 2 months, like a month, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, kind of a thing. Post-pandemic, it was more 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, kind of a. We were more in and out than we were before. But, you know, some tours are in places 2 weeks, like maximum. You know, we were lucky to kind of get to sit down and unpack, you know what I mean? And kind of like move in for a month or so.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So what would you say like your relationship is with social media? Are you someone who uses it a lot, love it, or do you have like a love-hate thing, or do you post a lot? Like where are you kind of on the spectrum?
I definitely have a love-hate thing. I am, unfortunately, you know, they got me hooked, they got me addicted to the apps, you know.
Sure, yeah.
I
like
got, you know. Yeah, I was got, and so I'm definitely pretty hooked on them. I mindlessly scroll a lot. I'll catch myself doing that, and I'll catch myself even, I'll be on Instagram and I'm like, let me close Instagram, and I close it, and then like seconds later it's open again, and I'm like, I didn't even acknowledge that my thumb clicked it, you know.
Yeah.
So now I've like deleted them off of my like home screen. You know, I still have the app. I just have to like search for it to like get to it to try to like, you know, stop with the mindless scrolling thing. But I really like social media. I think it's great. I think it's a lot of fun. I think that it creates a handful of problems. I'm not sure what the solution is for, you know, the world moving forward when it comes to phones, particularly social media, because it's something that we all use. It's something we all kind of rely on now. It's a way of communication. It's a way of, you know, some people don't even have like websites. They just have like their Instagram page for like their business or like whatever it is. Like it's used in so many different ways. So I'm not sure how to like not use it. And I don't want to like not ever use it. I think it's a tool, and I think that it's a great tool, but I think that it's changed a lot, you know, from when like Instagram first came out, and it was just kind of that dog filter that everyone would use or whatever, and just be a picture like at the grocery store, you know, and now it's definitely more for marketing, I feel, for whatever your brand or business or, you know, profile is, which feels like a lot of pressure. Like I feel when I post something, I'm like, okay, is this on brand? Does this look right? Is this the right vibe? Is this appropriate? What are other people going to think? Like, you know, it gets a little loud of, you know, there's so much to absorb on the app. And so I don't think it's the best for us, but I'm hooked in, you know?
I love the way you said that too. I mean, that's just like most things, like there's elements to it that are negative, and then for like what I do, especially like I mentioned earlier, love being able to connect with people. I love when I'm at a supermarket and someone's looking at the same pack of cookies as me. Like I just want to have a conversation with them, like not like creepy or weird, like a whole long conversation, but like I want to like say something to them, or like something that just maybe brightens their day or whatever. And like for me, that's stuff that's like important to me. So being able to leverage social and connect with people, you know, like yourself and others who I've interviewed on here that live across the globe, Australia, and you know, like countries, you know, across the whole world, is really a major thing for me. And I love what you mentioned too about like the idea of owning and acknowledging the thing that you said about like deleting it from your home screen, right? To like allow yourself like that extra level of like hurdle to jump over or something in order to get into the app, which is I think important. I think all of us, you know, I mean, I've certainly done that. I've done the phases of deleting all social media from my phone and have only used it on my iPad at times, and that worked out pretty well at times. But then it would kind of be like I'd have to do more work in order to post things. Maybe sometimes I might want to get something out at this exact moment. Now I have to airdrop it to my iPad, which may or may not even be on me. And then so I kind of go through what I'm kind of like not trying to not overthink things, even though I overthink everything. But trying to not. You mentioned being a perfectionist earlier as well, I think, and that's kind of that's kind of how I think about things, or how I see myself a little bit. But just understanding that, like, I think for me, at least right now, it's okay to have different seasons of my social usage. Like right now in this current season, I'm using it quite often. I'm posting, I'm doing fun things with my daughter, and like stuff with my music. And I'm kind of embracing it more, and like understanding that with that with that comes the fact that I'm going to be like using it more and probably consuming more as well, and not like shaming myself for that. Because just a few weeks ago, I didn't have it on the phone, and I was like perfectly content with, instead of that time, like locking in with piano practice or doing whatever it is that I'm doing, building my tutoring business or whatever. So I'm kind of in a good space with it right now, I think. And I think it's cool that you're just as thoughtful with like how you're kind of understanding the use of it in your life.
Yeah, I go in and out. Sometimes, I use it more than other times, especially if I'm, working on a project or something that I want people to see or I want people to know about. Obviously, I'm going to be posting more, and, I'm trying to figure out the algorithm. I don't even know if I'll ever understand it, or if it's just this ethereal, magical concept. Sometimes I get lucky and I, post something and it gets a lot of views, or it gets a lot of, attention or whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, amazing. And I do the exact same thing, another day, and it gets like, 2 views or whatever it is. And I'm like, I don't know how this thing works. I give up. But I've learned a lot from social media, which I think, is something that people skim over sometimes when they're talking negatively about the impacts of social media, which, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of negative impacts, but I have learned a lot of like tips and tricks or workouts or, hacks or try this. Like there's a lot that I've picked up from, everyone across the world sharing things that they've learned and, recipes or, whatnot and the other, that can be really cool to have like, a place to find stuff that you find interesting, kind of presented to you, like, hey, you might find this interesting, and that's cool. But also sometimes it's overload, and I don't think we're meant to process everyone's feelings and everyone's opinions and everyone's everything all at the same time. I think that's too much information for us, and it's not always the best.
I love that sentiment right there as well. I think that's so true, right? We only have the capability or capacity, I think, to handle a certain amount. And so for me, like, I was gonna like maybe either tweet or like do some kind of like witty like line about what I'm doing now, but like, how you can mute people on Instagram. So Natalie, I have so many people muted. Like almost everybody is just muted, mute. I see part of me feels like a little bad, and then it's like, hey, do you want to mute their posts and their stories? I'm like, yeah, I think I do. Yeah. I don't have you muted, so don't worry. I don't have you muted right now. But a lot of people
every now and again when I post, you better see it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if the algorithm is doing what it's supposed to be doing, right?
I don't know how it works.
That's the big if. But like, I just find that kind of like, well, it's funny, but it's also, I don't know, like, yes, it's a way to manage not having everything thrown at you for me. And I think it's kind of working pretty well, where like certain people, whenever they put something out, I do want to see it, and I know I want to see it. So of course that person's not going to be muted. So, if you haven't seen me, I'll talk to the camera. If you haven't seen me interacting with your content in a while, this is the reason why. This is the reason, okay?
You've not been invited to the party.
You have not been, exactly.
You've been kicked out, right?
Unfortunately, and it could be for just one post that they did, and maybe I was in a bad mood, Natalie. Maybe I was like,
right, but then like, do you go back and like, do you check back through like people you've muted and like see if you're in the mood to see their stuff, or do you, once they're muted, they're gone?
Well, so that's exactly it. I need to know, like, I would love, and I'm sure there's a way to do it, I just don't know how to, but I want to be able to see muted versus unmuted people and be like, wait a second, like I like this person.
I'm sure there's a way.
Like,
yeah, I'm sure there's a way.
there has to be a way. Yeah.
I'm
so
sure.
there needs to be a list, right? Okay. So I'm gonna investigate that, because otherwise that's just downright mean, isn't it?
Otherwise, yeah, it's like you piss me off once, you're gone.
There's no coming back from this.
There's no room for error.
Oh my God! You talk about pressure, like on brand posts. Like now, everyone
Right.
who's watching
Like,
this,
oh
who
my
wants my
goodness.
approval, like,
Whew.
oh my God, that's a lot. All right, so a question that I've asked people in the past that I haven't asked in a very long time, that I'm very curious to know what your answer is going to be. It goes a little something like this: like, if you have a chance to have a brunch or dinner with anyone any living person right now, who would you love to sit across from and break bread with?
That is a deep question.
Going deep
Let
here.
me think.
Take your time.
Because I could say like Michelle Obama, someone
Mm-hmm.
like just amazing and inspiring. But honestly, like, I don't know what I would say if I was sitting with Michelle Obama. I feel like that might be too intimidating. Like maybe I should
Gotcha.
do like Kevin Hart or someone that would just be like a really fun, So like, do I go serious or do I go like, this is like Lizzo? I would love to hang out with Lizzo. She seems
yeah.
awesome, like
Yeah.
a blast. But like maybe I should, like ask Michelle Obama questions and, have more deep, like, kind of talks and stuff. Or maybe just, get drunk with Lizzo. Like that sounds fun too. I'm going to go Lizzo.
Right. Yeah. Lizzo. There you go. Get drunk. Get drunk with Lizzo. Like,
She
brunch. Well, you know
sounds
what?
Fun.
The way you worded that answer, it was, and I almost asked the question a different way, because people have said like, oh, well, if I'm having brunch, it's kind of this vibe, but if I was having dinner, it's this vibe. Dinner is a little bit more serious, I guess. Brunch is like more turn up or whatever. So in your case,
That's true.
You got
That's
Michelle
true.
Obama for dinner, and you got Lizzo
Right.
turning up at a bottomless mimosa
Right.
type deal. Okay, got it. Okay,
So I answered right.
cool.
I'm an overthinker
Yeah, you did,
also,
you did.
if you haven't picked up on.
Oh, I got it. I actually did pick up on that as well,
Yeah, I'm
because when I
sure.
asked about the movies, I saw a look of like stress and overwhelmedness, that's not a word,
yeah.
come upon your face, because you were like, you didn't want to like disrespect any of the 900 other movies that you love, and
Like,
you were just like,
Oh my gosh, what's
yeah.
what's the right answer here? Like what's the
Right.
best answer in my brain?
Right,
Too much
right,
pressure
right.
on myself.
Okay. So you know what? Dave Chappelle, Tyler the Creator, boom. And without even thinking about it, those are who I would need to
Really?
talk to. Tyler posted something today, or someone posted something that with Tyler in it today, and it was just talking about what you were just referencing about like the algorithm and numbers and stuff. And it was, to summarize, it was basically saying like, if you're a creative person, and I don't know if this is correct or not, this is just his opinion, but if you're a creative person, just kind of focus on creating whatever you're creating, put your all into it, be as creative as you can, et cetera, et cetera. And don't worry about the numbers. We probably all know that. Like if we come out, like take me for example, I came out with an album called Kayla Joy album. That's my daughter's name. It came out a couple of weeks ago. It's my debut audio album. I'm going to send it to you. I would love for you to check it out. Okay.
Yes, I would.
It's incredible. It's like an album that is about her. Like one of the songs on it is called Induced Labor, and it has the heart rate as a tempo from the song from my wife when Kayla was being born, right? So it's an upbeat song. And I kid you not, Natalie, right? Like just today, I don't want to say I get emotional, but I get like overwhelmed with emotions, which is the same exact thing as emotional. As
Yeah, I
I'm
was
like
about to say.
editing, it's the same exact thing, right? Like
the
it's
same
no
thing.
different, at all. There's this listening party that I did for friends and family. About I think 15 or so people came, and it was a few days before the album came out, which the album was released on her birthday on 4/12, and having it, and I was overwhelmed with nervousness for this event, so much so that like I'm being vulnerable with people who matter to me the most, sharing my art, which I know I make dope music, but I'm never that comfortable sharing my music with people. Especially these are not creators who are in here with me. Like if you and like other people who are like creators and artists and stuff are there, you guys know the blood, sweat, and tears that go
Right.
into, making what we make. So it would be like, I think, a different experience. But I say all that to say, as I'm editing this 40-minute long, album listening where I'm like giving a little description about the song, kind of like I did for Induced Labor,
and then playing the song, I was so in the moment that I wasn't even like looking at people. I was kind of just like holding her and kind of interacting with her most of the time. But now having a chance to edit it and like watch me up there, watch me holding her, see people's reactions, I'm like, I'm so blessed and so glad that I didn't like punk out and like not do it. Because I came a little bit close to like almost saying I'm not even myself like the weeks leading up to it because I was that overwhelmed. But it was just so good though, you know?
Yeah, I think that that's a common thing for creators. I feel that especially sometimes I have a lot of ideas in my head of like, oh, this would be cool, or oh, I want to do this, or I've got this idea for a project, I've got this idea, because I'm a creative individual. But I'm like, I get that the fear of it, you know, and the anxiety of like, what do people think about that? Is this the best way? Is this what, you know, how's it gonna can be like debilitating sometimes and stop you from doing it. But I think it's always better to like try and fail than like not try at all, like stand still. You know, I think that at least that's what I try to remind myself of. My internal voice disagrees sometimes. It's like, no, just don't do anything. That's better.
Don't do it.
But no, I definitely think, and I really admire people that create and share that creation. I think that that's so, I know how tough that can be, you know, as a creator. So I think it's a really brave, inspiring thing when people do that.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah.
I have a lot that I need to send you. I will definitely send you that as well. You have a lot of stuff that you have to watch of mine and listen to. You have like homework to do now.
Homework.
But I know it's crazy, right? That's like one of the things that you did sign the release for this, right? Where you have to like do all these things that I sent you in the email, right? So it's like, you're
much to do.
You're legally bound to it now. All right, so let me think of one more question, because this was first of all, like, this was so dope. I mean, we had like the little hiccup earlier with you not knowing that you have to turn your volume up. We figured it out right away.
I was like, what button do I press?
Right.
Just turn it up.
We figured that out. Right. Then we had my problem with my platform, and I was like, damn, am I not gonna be able to like interact with you and see each other the whole time? But we fixed that. Like everything is good. And I just I just really enjoyed chatting with you. And I think that what's like noteworthy is like we live in a similar world, in a similar creative space. Both of us are doing things that are creative, but like we're doing things that are not radically, just very, very different. Like your day to day right now, Monday through Friday, are you having rehearsals? Is that kind of like the schedule currently?
Yeah, we rehearse 6 days a week.
6 days. And what are the hours for rehearsal?
It varies. For the most part, it's like, 10-ish to, 6-ish p.m. But it varies if we're called that day, or if we're called for the full day, or if, like if they're working on a scene or a song that I'm not a part of, then I don't need to be there, so it varies.
Is it intense?
I mean, we're doing like Lindy Hop, which I don't know if you know that dance style, but I don't. It's very like fast jumps, like quick feet, like fast. So it's like a good cardio session that we're getting. Wow. Okay. Yeah. It's very like exciting, so cool. And like, we're doing some tricks and some lifts, and then we've got, the more like, and I don't want to say boy band, but what's the word for, like boy groups with like the microphone kind of choreography, and boy band is more like 90s, you know what I mean? Right. But I don't know the word for that. I know what you're describing. I'm blanking on it right now, but that kind of style. So we've got a lot of different, styles throughout the show, vocally and choreographically. Right, man. I can't. I'm thrilled. I mean, and also June, July. Is it in June and July, or just June? So we're in previews, like, June essentially, and then we open. So shows have preview time, and then the official like opening date, and that's but we're open essentially in June, but the official opening night won't be till I think June 25th. I might be lying to you. I want to say June 25th. Somewhere in there. We'll put it.
We'll put it up in that description right down there for sure.
Right. There you go.
Okay. It's right down there. Wait, so all right, that's awesome. And I will 1,000% be there. And then there was one more last question. And I would, by the way, love to do this again at some point in the future, like when it makes sense to do that. I always love like inviting, like letting my guests know that, because to me it's really cool. Like I've done it a couple of times now, like maybe a year or 2 years have passed since I've talked to someone and like chatting with them again. It's always a great time, seeing where they're at and all that good stuff. So that kind of leads into the last question. Like, do you, as a chronic overthinker, as I am as well, do you like? That's a bad word, chronic. Like it's like you're
no, it's fully chronic. Like that's the correct word. Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. I took I went out on a limb there, but I'm glad it was.
No, it was
okay, good.
It was a branch.
So it was, yeah. Okay. Do you like think about what you want to accomplish within, say, the next 3 to 5 years? You have specific things that you're like, okay, in the next 3 to 5 years, I want to have done this. Or alternatively, are you kind of in a space right now where you're working on what you're working on? You know that after this, almost definitely, if you see it for yourself, you're going to go in and like have another one of these types of things that you're doing to kind of build yourself more experience. I'm talking way too much. Let me let you answer the question. Do you think that like, how do you kind of look at things?
You know, it changes. I think every time I kind of go into like a year or something with a plan in my head of like, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing this year. This is what I'm going to be focusing on. This is how it's going to go. It never goes that way. So, you know, I try to just kind of stay in a place of opportunity and like sort of getting bullet points of like where I'm at. But for the most part, it's kind of free flowing because it just never goes the way that I think it's all going to turn out. But with all that being said, I really want to do more work in TV and film. I've, you know, kind of tampered in that these last few years, and it's been amazing, and it's something at art that I really love. So I would love to be, you know, a sitcom would be cute. That would be so fun to go to work every day and laugh. That sounds amazing. That'd be such a dream. To be on a sitcom or, you know, some sort of regular show as a series reg would be really would be the dream, as well as, you know, seeing what happens with this show. If it is able to, you know, excel and do more, I would, you know, be happy to do that and continue on in my directing choreography career. I've got a lot of like little projects that I'm kind of trying to water all of them because I want them all to take off, and we'll just see which one blooms first, if that makes sense.
It makes a ton of sense. So the TV and show thing, I was going to even ask that earlier. Like, is that a transition that you know of anyone that's in the space that you're currently in who've made a transition into?
Oh yeah,
being?
That transition happens a lot. It can take a little time to like rev up that engine, just because your theatrical resume doesn't like directly translate to TV and film because it's a different medium. So if you've been working in, you know, Broadway, theater, it's not like a direct, you know, for the casting director that they see, they need to see that you've done film stuff. So it's not necessarily a direct, you know, crossover. So it takes a little bit of time of kind of watering that and revving that engine and getting that going. But yeah, that's definitely where I would want to end up, which would hopefully take me back out to California, and then I'd full circle.
There you go. And I would say from my end, very, very similarly, TV, not acting, but having my music be placed in cartoon, video game, show, movie. Like the stuff that I make is very much primed for that type of area. And I was just talking to my mom earlier today, and then I'll let you run because we're a little over an hour. I was talking to my mom earlier today, like just about how I really, how that's something that I've wanted for a while, but I have not yet done deliberate steps. You mentioned watering those plants and watering the seeds / plants. Same thing. It's either or. But like I need to do that, right? That takes work. Like me researching, you know, how do I, like, where do I start? I can't assume that someone's
Yeah.
going to see me on Instagram and be like, oh, this guy here is making
Right.
music like the rest of these million people, right? And I have to like understand that there's like work and there's moves and
you have to
connections
make.
like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So next time we talk, perhaps we can even unpack that a little bit further. And
Yeah,
kind of
let's
talk
hope,
about how that's
you
going.
know? Yeah.
Yeah,
Hopefully
for
so
sure.
well.
Yeah, that's the game plan, right?
That's the hope and the dream. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, look, my friend, this was really, really a great time. I love like getting butterflies a little bit before these interviews because I'm like so hyped about them. And then I love afterwards as it's winding down. I'm like, okay, this was good stuff, and I'm just excited for the opportunity to connect with people like you, and I'm excited to, as I mentioned earlier, to see you perform in person will be like incredible. So I look forward to that.
I look forward to that too. That'll be fun. I love when I
sure.
have people in the audience that like I know are there, you know. So let me know for sure when you come. So
Absolutely.
I'll put on like a little extra jazz for you.
Yeah, a little extra pizzazz. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'd expect nothing less. All right, so have
Well,
an
thank you
awesome
so much.
rest of your. Yeah, thank you for the time, and I hope you have a great rest of your night. And
Yes.
I'm gonna send you some links on Instagram right now. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Take
Bye.
care.
Chillin'.
Good. Excellent. You had a good day?
Yeah, I've had a good day. I've had a busy few weeks. But tomorrow is my last day, and then I have Saturday off, so that'll be good. I can get some laundry done.
Awesome. That
Yeah.
sounds exciting. Laundry is always a good thing when you're
Yeah.
able to get that taken care of, you know?
It piles up.
1,000%. And so we live in a townhouse, a 3-floor townhouse, where the bedrooms are on the top and the washer dryer, which is in the basement, is right over there. So just the idea of having to, I know it like might sound lazy or something, but like going those 2 floors every time just to wash and dry is
No,
is
of course,
pretty
that's not
brutal,
lazy.
actually.
Yeah, it's a lot of
No?
effort.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a day
1000%.
operation.
Versus like my brother, for example, and a few people I know. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like some people I know have their washer dryer literally right next to the bedroom, which I'm like kind of jealous of in a way, you know.
Yeah, I'm lucky. Mine's in my bedroom.
There you go. Oh, in your bedroom.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in New York, so
okay.
everything's compact, you know, but so it's not too far.
Sure. There you go. So we're gonna get into a lot of different things. One of the questions that I love
All right.
asking.
Enjoy,
or I
guys.
guess to
Take care.
start off with, just to kind of
I love this
give
little one
them
so
a chance
much.
to reflect,
right.
and for me to learn a little
Let's go
bit
get her a
about them,
bath.
is I want to know a little bit about what